Hello, this is Julie, the Bold Brick Virtual Voice, and welcome to the second part of the DAO Demo Series. Today we will resume where we left off in the previous part. We will create a sample site collection and use generated code to do something useful with the site. The sample application will involve one SharePoint content type and list to hold foreign exchange rates. The business logic will use live data on the web to feed the exchange rates into the SharePoint list. Although I could create the site structure in the SharePoint web interface, I will use Mossquito to also demonstrate its data modeling capabilities. New content type will hold the exchange rate entry with Canadian dollar as the base currency. The content type will have two fields: the target rate and target currency. I will create them as site columns and link them to the content type later. And now the target currency code. Link the created columns to the exchange rate content type. The site columns are linked. Finally, create the foreign exchange rates list. And add the exchange rate content type to the list. This will also add the content type linked site columns as fields to the list. Assign the fields to the All Fields view to show them on the web. The usage matrix is very efficient for this task. The site structure is created. Now accept the changes. Mossquito tracks all your changes similarly like MS Word does. This makes it simple to track all the changes made to the model with the SharePoint complex semantics and object relations. We are ready to deploy. In the previous demo, we created a blank site. Let's publish our changes into it. Select the source model. Select the target site. I will cover the deployment options in a future video demo. For now, let's keep the default options and use the source to target synchronization. Mossquito now fetches the site structure from SharePoint and compares it to the source data model. The result of the comparison will be a set of operations to bring the target site into sync. The operations are then translated on the server to a set of SharePoint API calls. This makes the deployment a precise and safe operation. Only the changes are deployed. The site collection now includes new content type and list. Let's create DAO classes for it. Target namespace. Output folder. Target language. .NET Framework Runtime version. The advanced options allow you to adapt the generated code, like the accessibility modifiers of the generated code structures and the identifier formats. the conversion of SharePoint internal names to code identifiers, and the generated comments. Done! Let's do the fun part and switch to Visual Studio on the Windows Server box. I copied the generated files to the DAO folder in the Visual Studio project. Let's include them into the project. The sample console application will fetch exchange rates from web and write them to the exchange rates SharePoint list. The SP context scope. Now, read the exchange rates from the web resource. In this case, let's borrow the data from Bank of Canada. For every SharePoint list, there are two classes generated. The first represents the list with all the metadata, and the second represents one item in the list. The list class instance will be used to add new items to the list. All classes are generated as partial. This allows to extend them with custom methods without risking to lose the custom code when regenerating the DAO. I'll demonstrate this on a custom method that will query exchange rate item based on currency code. New partial class that will extend the generated exchange rates list class. The Mossquito DAO library contains camel query builder to make the data querying a little easier. Create using alias to make the code easier to read. The method will query exchange rate based on the currency code. If none is found, it is created and initialized. Note the usage of the update method. Call it every time to persist the changes made to the list item class instance. Use the custom partial class to retrieve the exchange rate item class instance and update it with the target rate value. Call the update method, and we are finished. Compile. And run, to feed the SharePoint list with the actual data. Piece of cake. Let's see the results. In this demo, we have demonstrated how to use the DAO classes to query and modify SharePoint content. The generated code is easier to use than the SharePoint APIs. You use a natural representation of your business model. You don't have to be SharePoint expert to access or modify SharePoint content. The resulting code is readable and less error-prone. In the next DAO Demo Series part, I will show you some advanced concepts, like the benefits of type safety, or coding your business logic against content types. Thank you for watching.